1st, 2023 at 7:04 p.m. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Kim, would you call the roll?
Eric Atway.
Here.
Hessler.
Here.
Meyer. Johnson. Underbach.
Here.
Wonley.
Here.
Whitman.
Here. Consent agenda. Consent agenda. Motion to approve the consent agenda. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. Public comments, Kim.
Joel King, 2 Toussaint Drive. And just got some general comments about we in our homeowners association, we had somebody send out on our Facebook page about the meeting tomorrow at Catholic Church. And one person responded and said they didn't listen to the concerns about the apartments at Bryan and Feisey. Why would they listen to this? I'm done with the city of Dardenne Prairie. That's what you guys have caused. You and a few others on here. I know some of you guys are new and don't do that, but that's what and it's not always just because of you. Going all the way back to Quick Trip, they didn't listen to us about Quick Trip, declared it blighted. Didn't listen to us and lied to us about Stump Road, still going through. Didn't listen to us and lied to us about the apartments. And that's what you guys have caused right there. And I don't know if that's what you want people not to show up, but that's what they're doing, because apparently people in my subdivision just say, you don't listen to us. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Evening. When I showed up for the meeting this evening, I was informed that the complaint that I made about a resident in my subdivision who shot off fireworks that were considered commercial grade fireworks. I brought in pictures. Everybody looked at the pictures. I brought in samples, which were immediately taken away. I found out tonight that absolutely nothing is going to be sent to this resident to tell them that they have set off fireworks that put danger to my neighbors and to my home, and they're going to do it again next year. I don't understand this. I don't understand why you're so afraid. And that's all I can say that it is you are afraid to confront a resident for fear of some sort of maybe lawsuit. Well, I can tell you, for one, next 4th of July, I will be on that phone to 911 and to several of your cell phones to let you come over and witness the war zone that happens in the streets in my subdivision, because you will not do anything about it. And if someone get hurt, you better believe you better worry about lawsuits then, because you have been warned, you have been shown that these people have no regard for anyone's personal safety, let alone their own children who are out there while this is going on. I am so disappointed. I can't even really believe that you don't have anything that you could say to this person or anything that you could do. I just don't understand it. And I'm just disappointed.
My name is Cheryl Bratton. My husband Larry and I live on Cruden Bay Court in Inverness subdivision. Before I share the main text of my speech tonight, I'd like to point out that just yesterday, the Wall Street Journal published an article that is available, sorry, on the Apple News feed. And the title of the article is "The Money Has Stopped Flowing in Commercial Real Estate." In great detail, it gives very up-to-date information about what's happening with commercial loans as they relate to warehouses and apartment buildings. I strongly suggest those of you that have an iPhone that you take the time to look for that article. Again, it's called "The Money Has Stopped Flowing in Commercial Real Estate." I would have read all of it to you tonight, but it's quite lengthy. So please take the time to take a look at that. It's been several weeks since I've been able to make it to a meeting, but through the magic of YouTube, I've been able to remain aware of city business, even if I've had to do so from afar. In fact, my stepping back has provided insight as to how Garden Prairie's government continues to respond to the residents. Specifically, for nearly a year, Garden Prairie residents have asked the board to do three things: create a government/citizen partnership, which reflects our status as stakeholders instead of residents; act as a representative government whose primary responsibility is to acknowledge and act upon citizen concerns; and most importantly, demonstrate transparency. The core responsibility of local government is to provide information to the public. In July, you expected the residents and board to give carte blanche approval to the names submitted for the Town Square Visioning Committee. You have to stop being shocked when residents throw hissy fits when they're speaking behind this podium. As you recall, Joel King delivered the last hissy fit in October, and he was absolutely correct in doing so. You proposed that Mr. James be approved to serve on the CID board without any explanation to the residents of what a CID board is, how it functions, and most importantly, criteria for appointment to that board. Once a mistake is a mistake, twice is a habit. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Those who forget the past are destined to repeat it. I can recite one trite phrase after another, but at the end of the day, I think Joel would agree his fit was less about Mr. James than it was about your repeated lack of transparency in Garden Prairie's government. The movie Groundhog Day is also available on YouTube, but look around. Bill Murray isn't here. Stop making every city meeting look like a repeat of the ones that have come before. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the Board of Aldermen. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dinoff, County Public Advocate. First of all, I hope that tax abatement and no public monies were used for demolition, removal, or remediation of the residential house, metal pole barn, or any other accessory on the boat property, known as the Encore, with the apartments and the corporate to make multimillionaires go towards their $1 billion of profits. Negotiate and execute a deposit. This is to be sales tax and tax abatement at full expense of taxpayers. Million limited liability. Is $5,525 enough paper credit deposit, Mr. Weiss, to cover and guarantee taxpayers won't be out this development goes belly up? $5,000 in legal fees? You gotta be kidding me. What a joke and waste of taxpayer money. The Encore Community Improvement District. When are the meetings of the Encore Community Improvement District going to be held? Where are meetings held for the Encore Community Improvement District? Where does the postings of the Encore Community Improvement District appear and are posted to comply with Chapter 610, the Open Meetings Act of the Revised State Statutes of Missouri? Why is the city of Garden Prairie not having a majority of directors overseeing the developer and the development activities to ensure honesty, trust, and transparency and no waste? I do not trust whatsoever Tom Kamens nor Jim Cook because they're evil and up to no good with taxpayer money at our expense. Jim James, who is he? Chapter 67.1451.2 lays out the qualifications of office, and I don't exactly think they're being met. Is he for the developer or for the city's interests? And then resolution 377A at last meeting on Wednesday, October 18th, Dan Becker supposedly was approved. Is he again for the developer or for the city's interests? Again, were his qualifications? Their allegiance and safeguards are needed at this critical time by asking the important questions to the developers to make sure the taxpayers and the city of Garden Prairie aren't raked over the coals and taken advantage of. You gave almost a billionaire tax incentives, tax abatements, corporate giveaways, and corporate welfare. It's a shame. Thank you.
Okay. The new business. Entertain a motion to read Bill 2347 for the first time. Just in a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none. Bill. Title only. Bill 23. Authorizing the city. Letter of credit between Delco LLC. Construction, completion. Any discussion or debate? Got a motion of second time? Second by Justin. All in favor? Aye. Active read Bill 27, second time. Authorizing the city. Letter of credit by and between Delco LLC. Construction. Discussion or debate? Call vote. Justin, second by Pete. All in favor? Oh, no.
Alderman Underbaugh.
Aye.
Alderman Costello.
Aye.
Alderman Wondling.
Aye.
Alderman Whitman.
Aye.
Alderman Gettemeyer. And Johnson. And it's 2275.
Fair bill. 7075. Bill business. Resolution 377A. Resolution. Got a motion to adopt resolution 377A. I'd like a roll call vote.
Alderman Johnson. Whitman.
Aye.
Alderman Gettemeyer. Alderman Wondling.
Yeah.
Alderman Costello.
Aye.
Alderman Underbaugh.
Aye. Resolution 377A is approved. They have communications, city attorney. I have nothing. City engineer. Sent out, body. Okay. James.
First I want to say, added the 15th to be. Also, as we given our updated estimates. Plus in mind, budget. Also, they have no say, let us know. They got on their radar, just all project. See how these. By the next. So, also, wanted to just, escrow amount. The land disturbance. All of the escrows that by. Land disturbance. That was just. Guarantee that the site will be. Project isn't good, but the project will be. This is to. Restore the site. Later on, we will have another restaurant. And that would be. Ensuring that, that'll be a large, much larger restaurant. Project calls probably. Have the money. Actually, that would be. Basically, the engineer's estimate of the cost plus 50%, so. And lastly, I do want to apologize to Carla for not, we had a meeting with the. Police regarding, another matter, last week. And I did want to talk to her at that time. I do apologize for not. But after multiple drafts, after your concern, which we did talk about also. Might recall that we talked about. Next year, both engaging with law enforcement. Starting on the line. So we do. Proactively. Up to the bond. Sure that we do. With. With. Property. Obviously. We did have several drafts, actually, of the letter, which, after multiple drafts. And. Draft. Cause we do not have a sign. Not have. Video at the time. After. And. Based on. So, that point was felt that we should have been. But, that was. Typically, as well as the situations. Proactively dealt with next year. That's. On our radar. Back to. Bonding to. Large. Out at the time. Allegation. Actually. Somebody out there, if they got. Somebody's dropping off pallets. College kids. Right there's just. I really just. I do want to apologize to you, Carla. I do apologize. I'll do that. I wrapped it. Apologize for not giving you that update. Active. And it's just like. I didn't put it out. Back to now. David. Well, I don't know, so it wasn't a matter of this. And. Engaging a resident and saying, hey. I heard that. Did all this stuff. Problem with that resident. Maybe that resident might know. Fatal threats or anything like that. Real evidence, there's evidence of something happening. Evidence. We signed a legal standpoint typically. Fine. Document. I saw it. Small. Third ones. He said, after multiple drafts. I'm on this. By the time we got. At this point. What do you do? Hey, by the way, 6. That just. So it felt like it would be. Actively. Maybe this person's done. That was the board really wants us to write a letter. And I can work on one. Obviously, there's. So much. Yeah, but I think approaching something, I don't think that's true. There was a massive. Evidence. Something as simple as. We got. Just as a reminder. Fireworks. Elections. They. Also came out. There was. Also. Maybe. FYI. And then, like I said, I think. Watching. Hey, might be here. Yeah. Yeah, so obviously, it's not the only complaint we received. I know that Alderman Johnson, I received. Our other complaints as well. One as well, that it's. I could say the. First draft. really bad like that, then somebody's gonna. That's the other issue. It is. Weeks and months. It is. That is. I didn't do that. Else. Something bad. And I was very, the whole thing was, pitched in, which by the way happens. So I know my sister's told us that, they put me about 10 grand. I really believe that if we get, active and vigilant activity, public awareness throughout the whole city, and all the city, you know, as Keith said, you know, we have other complaints also. I think the best way to address it is to the whole city, very actively and very vigilant. Let them know that, you know, especially amongst the police, right away. But that's about, I certainly should have. That's with that warning. I can certainly see it. Right at the beginning. Is about what is not allowed. Especially that. Gonna receive this in the mail, and by the way.
Can we put a marker calendar for May, visit this conversation? Questions then. On our approach might be.
I'll make sure, so, yeah, we already have a plan. Maybe otherwise, that being said, I'll put a calendar on there. Session, where we revisit, you know, so we can talk about messaging, talk about the different avenues. If we do, we might use times. Not in season, as far as. They start buying them. I guess really can get what they want, so.
Don't you think we need to approach them almost immediately? We should have done it already. Before they go out and buy hundreds, if not thousands of dollars worth of fireworks. And then we tell them that they can't shoot them off.
Yes.
Can't wait till May or June.
So, well,
that's
that's.
why
It's not open.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but they're working through a wholesaler. Yeah. Well, that's true, but I mean, if you're working through a wholesaler, you already know. Oh, so there's guys, there's gonna be, as far as I know, everything legal, but he runs up such a high power for the class. But I'm saying the class is.
Yeah.
Complaining about. You're not getting by the license.
Right, those were,
That means you've taken a test, you know that.
where you got somebody else who did it.
Well, that's true, or you got a black market. You already know your rules.
Yeah.
But I mean, if April, do you guys think April's early enough? Conversation, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Starting to think about what we're going to do earlier rather than later is good.
Yeah.
To Dave's point. If somebody does go out and refund $10,000-15,000 worth of stuff, they're gonna want to. And deal with the consequences. Tell them they gotta find it out. I mean, they got parks to do.
I don't belabor it too. Ask the two. Thanks, but as far as the. I feel really.
You just email them the recording.
Right.
So they'll say.
So, but we're referring to them, and I think that we're. that. I would say you guys don't. I'm happy with it. I'll send you a thing. What's your name?
Hey, Alderman.
I have a couple statements, I guess. Just a little observation, I guess, over the past 3 or 4 weeks. The way city and county government work. Driving home and home on sides of the road and I see they're striping. Those stripes are so hard to see. A little bit of rain at night. Either because I'm old or bad, but it's great. They're paving or they're striping the pavement. 2 weeks later, driving home and I had to drive around the truck where putting tar in the cracks, sealing all these cracks right over the top of the new tank. It's one hand not knowing what the other one is doing, both city government or county government, I guess charging us for that because it's in garden. Our streets.
I will say, I have reached out to them. About that, so I haven't been back in it. I don't know what their answers were to be, but yeah, I was waiting.
So I'm working in my garage one morning, this is probably 5 weeks ago. And new signs going up and there's across the street. Guys hanging around and being in, back in, nothing out of the 3 of them. In a new sign post. Big signs up. Right, I think. Expensive, but they did very, very good. It was at the top of our list 4 years ago, so it's taken almost 4 years to get them all installed. COVID. They're still not finished. So at $160 a sign, they're still working. These guys start to pull away and I motioned, they thought I was waving and they got, no, stop. Pull the window down and help you. And I said, don't leave the sign like that. It was leaning over at least 10% off the level. That's again, some of the things that we're getting from the county that we're paying for. But if I hadn't been there and said something, it would still be leaning. Okay. And then it leads me to the conversation that we had last time, and I think you may have misunderstood there where I was coming from. There was a constituent that was told in September of 2022 that we were going to fix this street. And it fell through the cracks, but he left. Didn't work for the city anymore. And that a year later, September of 2023, and we're still dropping the ball, and we're still delaying and not communicating with the constituent. And I'm told at a meeting, about the day of the meeting, here, mayor, okay, I said, well, it doesn't even need to be fixed. Mailbox is leaving, but we don't fix mailboxes. I understand. But why didn't we tell that guy a year earlier? He didn't even have it. So I'm just saying, I don't know what street creep is. Street creep to me was the goblins that were out last night. I'm just saying, we told them something and we didn't do it. And it took us over a year to finally go and tell them. That's right. Thank you.
Well, I called Derek. I talked to him prior to going. And he basically wasn't sure about a lot of things. Did say that his wife was told by someone that there might be an issue with street. I called both. Yeah. I called Ed, who has left the city. Jeff had said to me, he never told them that was a street creep issue. Driveway. Ed said he told them if it was street creep, we would fix it. But when Ed went out and looked at it, he said there was no issue with street creep. So I went out, I asked Tom to come out, and we looked at it, and Tom had told me there's no issue with the driveway. The mailbox is obviously been hit or something because it's skewed off of the cab. I communicated that with Derek, and he said, okay, I'm fine with that. And he would have someone come out. Says no. But there is no evidence of any kind of damage or creep to the driveway at all. Was there anything to you? No?
I'm not talking about street creep, mailbox, or anything else. I'm talking about September of 2022. 2022 September. We went out and looked at it in October
I
of
never knew it.
2023.
That's the first I heard. I went out there in less than 2 days after it was brought to my attention.
Shouldn't have had to gone out there. You're the mayor, not the street department.
We're a city of 9
So that-
employees.
I think the point is, gotta be better at communication. And
Thank you,
Well,
that's it.
thank you.
and that's fine, and I have no problem with that. But in this particular case, nothing was logged on in our log. So
So the response is, don't worry about talking about the street creep, is we gotta get better at making sure people log things. We get better at making sure people log things, and we're gonna track stuff, and that's it. Talking about the street creep in the mailbox is irrelevant to.
anybody else?
I did want to make a comment, Mr. King. Things were said by. About tomorrow. And I can understand sentiment that his neighbors have. I understand the lack of trust. In the city. These two things. What I would say to them. This committee was. Placeholders for people who care about the city. In this committee, because they want to develop the vision in the city. From a resident point of view. So. Even if. Neighbors, you know, the city. Members of the vision committee, absolutely. Their sake, for the sake of the neighbors that are working for the city or volunteering their time in that community, I would ask them to take their voice heard, take a look at what's going on. Secondly, at least give them that's recommendation. Whether it's approved or not approved or whatever happens there, once it's the beach chamber. That community's asking.
To go on to that night, there's only 2 city representatives on that. committee Out of 10 or 11 people, so it is residential. Alderman Cotslow is on it, and, Michael Woolridge from Planning is on it. Other than that, it's city residents that are.
Well, yeah, so Carla, I just wanted to say thanks for bringing this back up. It was not, it did not fall on deaf ears. I think, we did have discussions about it afterwards. As we discussed, so we're, from the board's perspective, rest assured we'll be taking, preventative measures next year to sort of, head this off. And I hope that if you might do go out, it's a productive engagement. But, it's not something that fell on deaf ears, but thank you for resurrecting the conversation tonight. And also thanks to everybody else for coming out and speaking tonight, and sharing your thoughts with us and participating in, not always exciting, there's not always a lot of crazy, debatable things up here, but always appreciate you guys sharing your opinions and coming out and just letting us know how you feel. Appreciate it. Thanks to the police officer from St. Charles County coming out here and providing the support for Superior guys. Thank you.
I just want to say, come to the meeting, Got a motion to adjourn?
Sure. Second.
The second, Keith, all in favor?
Aye.
For all the meeting, the meeting is adjourned.
Get you.